Okay, in this video we're just going to do a quick snapshot of the 2017-2018 budget, focusing mainly on the key policies to achieve fiscal consolidation, and then a bit of a wrap of some policies designed to achieve each of the other goals as well. So in relation to fiscal consolidation, there was a range of policies from last year's budget, which we talked about throughout class. They've made people pay an extra 7.5% towards their university degrees, which is designed to increase the amount of money that the government's collecting off students, and that's being combined with a decrease in the threshold for starting to have to pay it back. So people have to start paying back their uni debt when they start earning $42,000 as opposed to $55,000, which means they're going to pay the debt back quicker, because even if they don't have a high income or they're earning less than $55,000, they're still going to be made to pay it back. They're also increasing the top rate where you have to pay it back to 10%, which means that if you're earning sort of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, you're going to have to pay 10% of your income back on your student loans as opposed to 8%, with the idea that people earning that much can probably afford to pay the 10%. Other policies are the increase in the Medicare levy, going from 2% to 2.5%. Okay, this policy never got through Parliament, but it was designed to increase revenue that they were going to put towards the disability care. That was going to give the government with 0.5% more revenue, which was designed to then help people with disabilities and provide for other health-related issues. Another key policy is the framework for people on New Start allowance. So the two key changes to New Start allowance is they made it more difficult for those that were on drugs to get New Start allowance. They were forced to seek treatment with or there was under the proviso that they may lose their welfare entitlements if they didn't. And the second thing was like a 3 strikes program, where if you accrue 3 strikes for not turning up to job interviews, for not complying with your welfare, the rules on your welfare, then once you accrue 3 strikes, then you start losing your welfare essentially. So it breaks it down that you lose half your welfare in the first week. Once you get 3 strikes, if you fail to do something again, the next time they will take away your whole welfare for a week, and then they can take your whole welfare away for 2 weeks. So that was called the job compliance, designed to get people off drugs and into work, as well as to try and ensure that people are turning up to job interviews and things like that. The bank levy was another thing, so they increased the bank levy, which means that banks will have to pay a 0.06% of their liabilities in a bank levy or tax, with the idea to get some revenue back. This could impair growth because they may raise interest rates to cover that loss, and may also hurt shareholders because their share prices may go down. In terms of living standards, I wouldn't be too worried about policies from living standards from the last budget. The key ones are that they're putting more money towards counter-terrorism. There's also a policy to try and increase housing affordability. So what they're doing is allowing people to put money in their superannuation pre-tax, with the idea being that if they put more money into superannuation to save for a house, they only have to pay the lower tax rate of 15% instead of 45%. So the idea is that people can save for a house quicker. So individuals saving for their first home will be able to make voluntary contributions to superannuation. Under the new rule, up to $15,000 per year and $30,000 in total can be contributed, and the idea being that they can face lower marginal tax rate. So if you're in the 45% tax rate, you'll only have to pay 15%, and you can save up to 30% in tax. Okay, so just a summary of some of the key policies from last year. The key ones that you should be aware of is the job seeker compliance. So that's about getting the people off drugs and making it harder for people to get welfare if they're not following their obligations and turning up to interviews. This one here, the Skilled Australians Fund, is really important. So that idea of a levy for hiring temporary workers, so getting rid of the 457 visa scheme and replacing it with temporary workers, a temporary worker scheme, but firms who do that have to pay a levy of between $1,800 and $5,000. That levy then goes towards the Skilled Australians Fund, which is used to provide training for apprenticeships and people at TAFE and things like that, which is designed to increase the skill level of Australian workers. So they're the key policies from last year. This one we'll talk about more because they did it again in 2018, 2019. The infrastructure spending, they spent $5.2 billion on a West Sydney airport. They spent money on a Brisbane inland rail network, which we'll talk about more in class. Are some of the other key policies that they put in place there. Thank you.